Great morning, great morning, great morning. 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on WDRB Media, the voice of the community. Time for the It's About You radio show each and every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have the honor, privilege, and I'd say the blessing to host this show. And who am I? My name is Maurice McDonald, a.k.a. Mickey D. I think you know who I am. If you've been listening any period of time, you know who I am and what I'm about. This show, ladies and gentlemen, is truly a blessing. As I always say, my creator brought the radio back to me 40 years ago, over 40 years ago. I wanted to go into radio, television, broadcasting. My major in college was communication. And I had a chance to go to the Carolina School of Broadcasting to go into radio and wanted to be that part of it. Well, my creator has a sense of humor. He took me a different route first and brought it back 40 years later when I least expected it. But boy, was it on perfect timing. His timing is always the right time. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. So each and every Tuesday morning is the It's About You radio show. I call it It's About You because it is designed to get into your head, through your ears, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully through your feet, causing you to move to be the very best person you can possibly be. And every Tuesday morning, have this opportunity, this platform to share some information with you. And because it's 8 o'clock, I know somebody's at work, someone's in the gym, someone's having breakfast, you're listening, and I don't take that lightly. That is a true blessing. I'm so glad that you have the opportunity to do that. So with that said, it is 8 o'clock in the morning. So I want to go ahead on, as I always do, and give you the morning quote of the day. A morning quote of the day brought to you by MauriceMcDonald.net. MauriceMcDonald.net. You go there and learn all about your amazing gut microbiome. The morning quote of the day is the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra. You see, that little extra that it takes, and that's by an anonymous person, so I don't know who came up with that quote, but it's so powerful. I want you to think about that extra. And to me, when I hear the extra, that little extra from ordinary to extraordinary, to me, the acronym for extra, to me, the E is the excitement. Get excited. Wake up every morning getting excited about the opportunity you may have. Get excited about it. That's the first part about it. And the it to me is about X-ray. X-ray your motives. I mean, why are you doing something? Why are you even moving toward in a direction? The first part I said, get excited about it, but then I X-ray your motives. Why are you doing it? What is your why you're doing it? The T, obviously for me, is tenacity. You gotta go, whatever you're going at, you gotta have that tenacity. You can't come in lackluster and be extraordinary. That is very important. And then R, you gotta be realistic, setting some realistic goals about that. And then of course that A, that you want to finish up strong with that. With that A, number one is you got to, number one, know that you are awesome, that you got to keep pushing. You got to keep swinging at it. And you got to accept who you are and go with it, no matter what it looks like, a little bit of extra. So that for me is the difference between extraordinary and ordinary is that extra. Are you going the extra mile? Are you doing what you got to do so you can do what you want to do? And that has been your morning quote of the day, brought to you once again by MauriceMcDonald.net. MauriceMcDonald.net. Go there and learn all about your amazing gut microbiome. And we'll see where that takes you. When you get there, you're going to learn a whole lot of things about your gut microbiome. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that said, I want to go right in to something, today's topic, ladies and gentlemen. Oftentimes, there are conversations I have with individuals. There are things I read, things that I see that the Creator speaks to me, through me sometimes. And I can't explain it, but I was having a conversation with my professor, my colleague at the college where I teach, and she was in my office and she was looking at the degrees on my wall, and we were just having a general conversation. And she looked at me and said, "Hey, Mr. McDonald, what are you doing with that raggedy picture frame on your wall from your first college degree?" You know, I've had three amazing careers and also have 3 college degrees. And so, and a lot of other certifications, those types of things. And they're on the wall, they're on the frame. And my very first one was a frame that's got some mileage on it. It was inexpensive. And she said to me, "You can do better than that. That was your first college degree." So a couple of days later, we walked down to the bookstore and went in there, and she says, "Look, picture frame, here, go get you a frame." And I'm thinking, what difference does it make? Come on, it's no big deal. But through her urging and everything else, I decided, okay, I'll get it. So I purchased the frame, a new frame, came back to the office and put my diploma into the new nice fancy frame and everything else, and put the old one to the side. And on the side of the box, ladies and gentlemen, see, oftentimes I want you to pay close attention to what I'm about to say. The Creator will bring things to you in the most, I guess, unrealistic or sometimes unexpected ways. And on the side of the box, it says, "Make it official. Let's frame your success." Make it official. Let's frame your success. And the box sat in my office for a couple of days, sitting in a chair looking at me. And I looked at it and I kept thinking, let's frame your success. Let's make it official. And so that's what our topic is going to be about today. And perhaps, again, a follow-up. But the idea of it is, listen, the topic is, let's frame your successes. Now, see, it started out with me just talking about a frame. And what difference does it make? It's in a frame, no big deal, So the idea of it is, this topic came to me from someone else's recognition that I should change and represent better. So I looked at the word frame. A frame is a way we look at something. It is through the lenses which we interpret people's problems, opportunities, and even ourselves. You see, 2 people can experience the exact same situation and walk away with completely different conclusions because they were looking at it through different frames, a different perspective. Think about it. If you want success, we must first learn how to frame our thinking. Today, we're going to talk about how to explore major types of frames that we use each day, and how we can either help move forward or hold our own selves back. Oh, yes. So we're going to talk about frames today, ladies and gentlemen. So if you got pen and paper with you, or if you're driving, get your ears. If you're at your desk listening, and whatever you're doing, having your coffee, some of you are having your morning coffee. Let's go into this, frames. And I was thinking about different types of frames. The word frame has different meanings. Let's talk about eyeglass frames. Oh my goodness. Boy, have they changed over the years. Some of the frames way back in the 50s and 60s look so outdated. So if you wear glasses, frames are important. And the purpose of the eyeglass frame is to hold the lenses in place to help people see clearly. Yes, hold the lens in place. Because think about this. You can have glasses, the frames, and even now the frames are totally different with AI frames now. Hello. The frames that cost more money. Why? Because they do a lot. It's like having Google on your face, taking pictures and asking questions, talking through the frames of eyeglasses. So you can have very inexpensive frames and you can have beautiful color frames. Many of you listening right now, you got 2 or 3 different kinds of glasses with different color frames, matching outfits. Hello. But the purpose of the frame of the eyeglass is to hold that lens in perfect position so that you can see things clearly. Oh, let me pause for a second. And oftentimes people will like light frames or heavy frames on their faces, the different colors of frames. So that's when we talk about frames, let's frame success. Think about how you see things in life sometimes. There's a term that sometimes you hear people say things like somebody looking through rose-colored glasses. Yeah, how they see things a certain way. A privilege they may have because they view it like things should be handed to me, even though I don't have to work for it. Well, they're looking through the wrong frame of life, struggling. So let's talk about another type of frame, a picture frame. The purpose to protect and display photographs, artwork, certificates, and memories. Yes, a picture frame. That's what I had my first college degree in. And that goes way back in the 80s and everything else. Now, the frame did not diminish the accomplishment. But what she was saying, what Miss Johnson was saying to me, and what I'm saying, I want you to think about. If you worked hard for something, you really grind, you gave it your all, you did that extra that I talked about. Yes, you value that. Many of you had your firstborn child in a nice picture frame or family picture. Yes, your first diploma, somebody who got their GED, hello, you're proud of it. Whether it was a PhD or GED, you obtained it. And putting it in quality is kind of a look into who you are about it, that you value it. Involved in your church. Someone became ordained, or you became a minister, or you became a deacon or deaconess in your church, or you became a member of your sorority or your fraternity or whatever, something that's valuable to you. The frame you put it in. Some of you right now got your picture of your first grandchild or your 3rd or 5th grandchild. Or you have your children's college degree. You didn't attend college yourself, but you got 3 children who graduated. And you got those degrees proudly displayed on the wall. Yeah, that picture frame. Yes. And it says the picture frames gives value and focus to what's inside of it. Without the frame, the picture would not stand out. So sometimes getting a good frame of things can help you. Like in this case, the frame that I have for my first college degree, yes, it stands out now. It does. Even though it was attained way back in 1984. The value is still there. But now when I look at it, it's like I just rekindled. It brought back the memories. It brought back the struggle. It brought back the pride. It brought back everything. Yeah. Now some of you may say, well, what difference does it matter? It doesn't matter. And maybe to you it does not. But I challenge you to reach out and dig deep. Take a look at the picture frame of things that are valuable to you, what you worked through to get it. So we've talked about the eyeglass frames. We just talked about the picture frames. Now, with that said, let's talk about another frame. And this one, some of you may never have thought about. The next frame I want to talk about is construction frame. Hello, the purpose. Think about every house, every building, every structure has to have support for the building. So a construction frame, my father was a construction worker. Hello, and let me just tell you, Everything you think about when they call framing a house, no matter it's a small house, big building, a storage shed, or a multi-billion-dollar complex, all carpenters, they have to have construction frames to provide the structure and support for a building. Construction frames are the skeleton of homes, school, offices, and other buildings. Wood, steel, concrete frames support walls, roofs, and floors, ladies and gentlemen. Your house has all of that. I talked about the wood framing for the house, the steel framing for construction or commercial buildings, and concrete framing for large structures. That frame is important. You see, you can't take those frames for granted. See, they have to be inspected. Hello. Those frames, because if they're not up to code, there we go. There's a code for the construction. You see, that frame is important, ladies and gentlemen. You don't want a building collapsing on you when the wind blows. The framing that grows into a bridge. If you're driving in a car, riding in a car, and you cross a bridge on a highway, you feel this vibration or the slight movement in it because it is designed to sway a little bit through the construction of that frame. Yes, and this is so important that think about it. That construction frame is so vital for everything that we go through. Whether it's wood, as I said, steel, or whatever it is, it's a framework of safety that goes into it, and you cannot take it for granted. You cannot assume that you let anybody not qualified to set the frame. So with that said, how you frame your picture, how you frame your success, what you allow to be said or spoken about you or over you or your children is important. You don't let anybody who's not qualified to speak over you, to talk over you, and sometimes pray over you. Hello, you don't want all of that. It's how it is framed through the construction part of it. Yes, you'll hear carpenters talking about, we got to frame the house. They're going to frame the roof. It's an A-frame. They're going to talk about the different frames. And it's designed to carry a certain amount of weight per square foot. And they charge you by the square foot, all those kind of things. And so keep that in mind with framing a house. See, they got the foundation down. They got the concrete poured. They got everything's got to be exact. It cannot be close. It can't be 1 inch off. No, 1 inch off, it won't pass inspection. It won't pass the code. The inspector will come by and they do have to start all over again. So that's why they got to have qualified people to do the framing. So my question is, are you qualified to speak over your own life? Are you qualified to speak positively over yourself, or are you allowing your negativity to frame your success or your so-called lack of success? Be careful the words you use over yourself, because it changes the frame that you have for this, ladies and gentlemen. So we've talked about the construction frame. We've talked about the picture frames. We talked about the eyeglass frames. Everything is precise. The same thing with your glasses, your eyeglasses. It's got to be precise. You got to go to somebody who's been trained to make sure that your eyeglasses are the proper way. It affects you. Even the picture frame, they know how much weight can be held by that frame. Yeah, yes. Sometimes it takes larger nails or other apparatus to put the frame and put the picture on the wall. They know all that's been calculated in this, not by happenstance, just any old way. Then we talked about the construction frames. And now I want to talk about the bicycle frame. Hello. There we go. The bicycle frame. The purpose to support all parts of the bicycle, and it gives a shape and strength. Think about it. When you learn about a bicycle, the bicycle frame connects the wheels and the handlebars and the seats and the pedals. Different styles are made for the road bike, mountain bike, racing bike. And some of those Olympic athletes or those bike riders, those bikes are $2,000, $3,000 because they're built for speed. They're lean and the material they're made of. And that frame is important. That is so vital. So here I was looking at a box. All of this, ladies and gentlemen, came from a box, titled Make It Official. Let's frame your success. And this whole thing I've been thinking about for several weeks. And today, I decided let's do the show because there are people right now, you've been listening to the wrong frame. You have framed yourself in the wrong way. It's important to know when you're talking about that bicycle frame, holding the weights and the pedals, it's important that you know that. That's why a child's bicycle frame is not designed to carry the adult weight. It's not designed, it's too small for you. You won't be able to get the same effect. So sometimes you can't operate in somebody else's frame. That's for somebody. You've been trying to operate in somebody else's frame, and the frame wasn't meant for you. So let me say, you've heard stay in your lane. I'm going to say stay in your frame. Ooh, that was a nice one. I like that. Stay in your frame. That's how you were supposed to be. And another frame I want to talk about, window frames. Window frames. The purpose to hold the windows in place and provide support and protection. Window frames help keep our weather out, supports the glass, improves the appearance of the home or the building. How many of you know if you had a house that's 25 or 30 years old or 40 years old, those windows might need to be changed? Because now a lot of the windows from back in the day, they didn't have the good insulation in them. And you're getting a cold draft in your house and your power bills are expensive. Your gas bills are expensive because the window. Yeah, you get new windows in. You see the commercials on television all the time about getting new windows. And that is so important for you to understand about having new windows. And sometimes you need new windows of thinking, a way of seeing things. Because we said it's designed to keep the bad weather out and support the glass and improve the appearance. Because sometimes your appearance isn't the way it should be because of how you frame it. You're walking around, I tell people, living in 2026 with 1980 thinking. You're still framing yourself from your past mistakes and you don't see the new improve you. Sometimes keep the same house, but you go and put new windows in and give it an uplift. And guess what? You got a new makeover, a whole new attitude. And that is brilliant. That part is so powerful for you to think about. So we're talking about the different frames that we may have at this moment. Hey, listen, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Your body is the most advanced operating system in the world. Every day, trillions of cells run millions of processes at once. Over time, it can start to slow down due to stress, poor sleep, diet, environmental stressors. It can feel overwhelming. Suddenly, you feel the lag. Brain fog, low energy, poor digestion, slower recovery. That's your system struggling to keep up. What if, instead, you could give yourself an edge to tackle what the day has in store? From the creators of the world's most powerful activation products comes Healthy Edge. Healthy Edge starts with Protandim NRF2 Synergizer. It reduces oxidative stress by up to 40% in 30 days by activating your natural cellular defense system to help your body make its own antioxidants that are 1,000,000 times more powerful than any you could ever take. The other half of Healthy Edge is P84. Using the right amount of whole food ingredients, probiotics, prebiotics, postbiotics, and digestive enzymes, P84 activates the master peptides in your gut that help regulate, repair, and restore balance, going beyond supplementation. On their own, each activator is powerful. Together, they help you feel unstoppable. NRF2 Synergizer is your defense. P84 is your offense. And when they work as one, you don't just keep up, you stay ahead of everything life throws your way. Want to level up your activation? Check out our other activator products and learn about sharing these life-changing products to start a healthy side business. Take back your day with Healthy Edge.
To learn more about Healthy Edge, simply go to mauricemcdonald.net. That's MauriceMcDonald.net. Again, mauricemcdonald.net to learn about the Healthy Edge and take back your day. We're back, guys, here, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at the It's About You radio show, WDRB Media, Voice of the Community. If you missed the first segment, we have been talking about let's frame your success. I was talking about having words on a box of a frame that I purchased for my first college degree. And we've been talking about the idea of what frames are, the different types of frames. And I talked about the eyeglass frame. I designed to hold the lens in tight so that you can see better. The frames come in many styles: plastic, metal, rimless, sports frames, and all kinds of things we talk about. We talked about picture frames. Your favorite picture, your wedding picture, guys, could be in there. Your picture of your mom or your family, your first grandchild. You get a nice frame for that picture because it adds value to you. I talked about construction frames. Yeah, when they're building a house, they call framing the house. And matter of fact, speaking of that, the more custom homes, the more expensive custom built homes, the framing is different. They add more luxury to it. They add more support to it. They add more everything to it. And so therefore, it is powerful. You know, that framing, that custom frame is good for the construction homes. We talked about bicycle frames, designing for the weight. We talked about window frames. Yes, a different quality of windows. That's where we left off, talking about all the different window frames that add support, add beauty to the home, add more value to the home, insulates the house, makes the wind not that cold draft around the windows. So frames are important, but all of this, ladies and gentlemen, is also tied to the mindset that you have about the frames in your life, the areas in your life that need framing sometimes. Hello. It's out of focus. There are no frames. You've used inferior materials to frame something that's supposed to be valuable in your life. Inferior materials, cheap and good, have nothing in common. That's what my uncle said. Yes, my Uncle Douglas. We called him Uncle Duck. He said, cheap and good got nothing in common, boy. And sometimes you're using cheap material to frame your windows or your glasses. Yes, and you wonder why you're not seeing things clearly. Somebody needs to take that. Somebody needs to take that and run with it. Make that personal. You know, we talked about the different frames, and let's move to our next frame. Bed frames. Ooh, to support a mattress and provide stability. See, some of you right now having a bad sleep at night because your mattress you got on your bed. If you got a 15-year-old mattress, I can tell by the quality of sleep you got. Change that mattress, folks. I know you can turn it around, you can do all those things, but some of you are sleeping on a concrete slab. Yes, and your frame is out of whack. Yes. Get a new frame, get a new mattress, do the things you got to do sometimes. And by the way, sometimes doesn't necessarily mean you got to go get a brand new mattress. Absolutely. But you don't have to get a new frame, because sometimes you could go to Goodwill or other places and the frames are good, because there are people who just, for whatever reason, got tired and just changed their frame. That's what they did. They just changed their frame. They changed their frame and they decided that, you know what? I just want a new frame. I want a new bed. They were able to do that, could afford to do it, so they did it. And they donated it and you found it. Okay. But get a frame that's going to support your back and support your mattress and everything that's going into play with that. So bed frame, a frame that lifts the mattress off the floor. I know people got mattresses on the floor. Get up off the floor, ladies and gentlemen. Get up off the floor. Put that on a nice floor and give the bed its shape and support. Getting down low on your knees. Some of you got bad backs and everything happening. Change that perspective. So how are you framing the people that you got around supporting you? You see, there are some people you think are supporting you, but they're not. And you're sharing your most dear secrets with them. You're sharing your quality of life with them. You're sharing your struggles. You're sharing your fears with them. You're sharing your fears, should I say. But yet they don't mean you well. They are a bad frame around you. And you include them in everything you do. You invite them. You tell them your secrets. You tell them what you're getting ready to do. Some of you talking to them about your husband to them. You sharing all your secrets, and you think they are in your camp. You framed everything around them. You go tell them everything, and they are not for you, and they're smiling in your face. And there's a song, so I'm gonna finish it for you. They smile in your face all the time. They want to take your place. Come on, old school, finish it for me. The backstabbers. That's exactly what that is. Be very, very careful who you invite. Since we're talking about bed frames, who you invite into your private life through the words you share with them. Because remember, they are not your support system. Everybody that smiles in your face is not a good bed frame. Is not a good intimate frame to share your knowledge with them. When you plan to quit on your job, what you plan to do, they run it back telling everybody. You think they only want to know that I only told my best friend. I only told everybody know your stuff. Why? You brought them into your circles and they're not there for you. Yeah, that's the point. So the next frame I want to talk about is the door frames. The door frames. The purpose of the door frame is to hold a door in place and allow it to open and close properly. See, going back to framing that house again, the carpenter knows that door frame has got to be solid. Door frames create the structure around the doorway and support the hinges of the door itself. See, those hinges are important. I want you to think about the places that are real tight when they have the secure door frames, those metal heavy duty, you can't kick the door in easily frame. People put the cheap locks on the door with the little cheap screws in there that don't go deep into the studs, and somebody kick that door frame and split it and walk right in and steal your stuff. Again, cheap and good got nothing in common. A good door frame is important. A solid door frame. Because if you got a heavier duty door, you got to make sure the frame is right. So how many people that you have an expensive door, but you got a cheap frame? You upgrade it, but then you cut corners in your life. Yes, opportunities that's there. Make sure the door frame is there to help carry the weight of the new door. The steel-plated doors. Hello. Those armored cars, for example, the doors on an armored car is solid. your house, your framework. When you do remodeling, sometimes you got to go and gut things out and put a good framework around. Why? It supports the weight of the new door. And also, you got to understand that you need that doorway as a way for you to protect your insides, to protect your valuables. That you got to have a good solid lock on the door. But the door frame has to be strong, because that's the problem. You got a good door, but you got a cheap frame, or the frame is old and they kick the door right on in. The door, the deadbolt, it did what it's supposed to do, but the frame split. Yes. So how many times in your life are we allowing the framework that we have to be the weakest point? There was a TV show many years ago called The Weakest Link. We can no longer have weak links to protect ourselves. What areas of your life that are you a weak link in that's not framed properly? You decide. Is it emotionally? Is it financially? Ladies and is it spiritually? Where are the weak links? You've got great plans, but you don't have a plan of execution. You don't have a beginning date. You don't set dates to your goals. That's a weak link. Well, one day. I'm going to do it one day. Oh, no. Look at the calendar. Get some urgency about it. Where's the begin date and where is the end date? I'm just going to throw something against the wall, see if it sticks. No, successful people don't do that. You see, there's a powerful book that I would highly encourage you to read. And many of you've read it. It's about a 30-year-old book. And that book is called The Idea. Oh, what am I talking? Just have it. Okay. It is called the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. For a moment there, I temporarily lost it. But there it is. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. People that are high, and this is by Stephen Covey. That is a powerful book. The late, great Stephen Covey wrote that book. And it's been like 50, 100 different languages, ladies and gentlemen, all over the world. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And that very first habit was begin with the end in mind. So when you start something, to me, it's symbolic of the framework over the door. That framework should be, I got the beginning date. I'm getting my blueprint together. I see the end. People want to go to school. People want to graduate from college. They got to see graduation day from the very beginning. How did I frame it? Even though now you know it's going to be difficult. There are no cupcake easy days. Oh, no. Forget about the easy way to get the degree. There is no easy way. I have students asking me from time to time, which classes are easier? I said, the one you don't take. The class you don't take, that's the easy one. We don't have easy ones. My mentor said to me, if it's easy, it's sleazy. Now, challenging, character building, but that's what growth is. So if you frame it, if the door, how do I frame the door? I got the door there, but is the frame solid? What do I need to change? Is it possible that I can make some changes in this process so that I can start framing things differently? You see, I will never look at a frame the way I have in the past, ladies and gentlemen. Because I believe my colleague, I call her DJ, Dr. Johnson. She's working on a PhD. I call her Doc already. But when her coming, and she's a person of excellence, when she said, Mr. McDonald, you got to change that frame. I thought, what difference does it make? This thing has been there since 1984. I mean, I've had this thing so long. What difference does it make? But she has driven me to a whole nother level. And it started me to take a look at what areas am I framing things differently, getting my frame correct. And this takes me right back down. Many of you know I've been on this weight loss journey, quality of life, not on diets, quality of life. Hired a personal trainer. He's helped me get about 40 pounds off. I got some more to get off. He's got 25 more. I'm going to work with him on that journey. So how I frame everything is important now. Taking a look at it, make sure the new structure, the health with the blood pressure down and all the numbers are getting lined up. See, that's a beautiful way to frame myself with my health journey. You see, I'm a firm believer that we all have some journeys. Every day you wake up, there's a journey. Every day you wake up, there's some framing that you need to picture it in. You got to learn how you frame it, making sure you got the right mindset. And the next point I want to talk about is a frame of reference. A frame of reference. In other words, to provide a point of view or way of understanding something. A way to provide a point of view or a way of understanding something. This is the kind of frame we use in our life. We have those frames in our relationships and success. A frame of reference influences how we think, how we solve problems, how we respond to situations. Think about this, for example. One person may see a setback as a failure. Another person sees the same setback as a lesson. And let me go ahead and put this out there. This is so important. The frame changes the meaning. Yeah, you see, the frame changes the meaning. And that is so important for us to get that picture in our head. Because, you see, wealthy people, they already know that a setback is temporary. There's a lesson to learn. Sometimes people who've been taught that any setback means I shouldn't have started. Once you learn that setbacks are part of life, and setbacks are necessary, and setbacks are meant to you to come, test your tenacity. Before, when I started this morning session, when I talked about our morning quote of the day, was the difference between ordinary and extraordinary was that little extra. When I said that T and extra to me was that tenacity, that I gotta go fight through it no matter what. There is no backing down. There is no quit. I got nothing to go back to. I got nothing. Listen, it's all in. There is no second choice. I'm going all in, that tenacity because I can. So the framework changes the meaning. So the frame of reference for a setback, realizing that it was necessary. And let me go ahead and tell you this right now. Fail often. Because when there's a failure, what you know is that's one way not to do it. If you want to get good at chess, guess what? Keep playing chess and keep losing. I need you to keep losing without losing enthusiasm. Michael Jordan said he got better when he got cut from the basketball team. That was the best thing that could happen to him. He became the GOAT right after that. The greatest of all time. He went at it. Most people see a setback. I keep losing, I'm going to quit. Pretty soon, you're going to get harder and harder to beat you. Anything you want to get better at, the gym, you can only lift 10 pounds. Well, guess what? You start doing more reps. 10 pounds, and now you can do a little bit more. And pretty soon, you've moved up to 12 pounds and 15 pounds. And now you're at 20 pounds. You've doubled it. You're getting stronger. You can only walk 1 mile. No, you started with a half a mile out, half mile back, 1 mile. And now you wake up, you can knock out 3 miles. And you see inches coming off you, blood pressure coming down. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm giving you just everything, everyday things that I know you know already. But some of you need to hear it again and again and again. Because there's a book I read that talks about faith comes by hearing. You know the rest of that story. Hearing by the word of God, obviously. But my point is taking this journey and going at it hard, like you really, really mean it, like it's necessary. because it is necessary. The failure, the setback, the temporary setbacks. Read the stories. You got to read books and watch podcasts or YouTube videos about people who overcame all kinds of obstacles, who fought through the failures, and they framed it, even though everybody laughed at them. Everybody told them you would listen. Swim upstream, ladies and gentlemen. The salmon going upstream, they know they're going to die, but they're creating the next generation. Come on. My whole point is it's time to reframe and stop walking in fear. Reframe your mindset. You're afraid of everything. Somebody brings you an opportunity to make money that doesn't require you to have a 9 to 5 clock in, clock out. You must work. What happens if you get sick? Your money got sick. Yes. And you can only work so many hours in a day, but there's more money to be had. But somebody brought you an opportunity where you can earn money while you sleeping through a website and save money on your taxes, and you running from it because nobody else is doing it. Oh, I don't know about that. And you sitting around complaining about who's doing what and with the economy and all this, and you can complain, or you can say, you know what? I'm going to reframe. Hello. I'm going to stop complaining and start reframing. Ooh, y'all can write that down. Now that was good. I must say so myself. That was a good one right there. Reframe. Reframe the picture in your mind. And let me try something totally different. Because if I want to make unconventional money, I got to do unconventional things. Yes, legally, morally, and ethically I'm talking about. That is so important. We'll be right back. We're going to take a quick break. Did you know all disease begins in the gut? It's true. Your gut is the foundation of your entire health. When it's balanced, your body thrives. But when it's out of balance, everything from fatigue, weight gain, mood swing, and chronic illness begins. Your gut isn't just about digestion. It's home to trillions of bacteria that affects your immune system, your energy, and your emotions. The good news is there's P84. 84 fruits and vegetables organically grown all over the world into an amazing product designed to help you to feel better, designed to help you thrive and win. Simply go to MauriceMcDonald.net. That's MauriceMcDonald.net to learn all about P84 and get it in your system today. That's MauriceMcDonald.net and learn all about your gut microbiome. We're back here on the It's About You radio show, WDRB Media, the voice of the community. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an awesome day for me, sharing some amazing information from you. I want you to think about how this started. I started this show off talking about a box. Yes, make it official. Let's frame your success. Written on the outside of the box of a company by the name, first of all, Herff Jones. Herff Jones is the name of the company that puts out a lot of picture frames. They do a lot of graduations with the cap and gowns and success, multi-billion-dollar company known all over the country. So if you've been to a graduation or you purchased a frame or you bought a cap and gown somewhere, chances are that's where it came from. And of course, it's through their marketing that they put that on the outside of the box. And it's a very nice frame. It really is. And I invested money into the frame. You notice I didn't say how much it cost me. No, it didn't cost me. Because see, sometimes you got to look at it, cost. You got to ask yourself two questions. What does it cost me not to invest? And then what does it cost me to invest? To use it or get it, or what did it cost me? So a lot of times we get caught up in what something costs. So that's another reframe that we got to think about this. Reframing what something cost. No, I never use the word cost. You see, wealthy people don't talk about cost. They talk about investment. Because most people who don't have money, they can only focus on cost. They can focus only on costs. Oh, that costs too much. I can't afford to eat healthy. Oh, that costs too much. Everything's based upon your limited resources, your limited fear around money, your limited fear around anything that's going to require me to have to spend money, they call it. No, invest money. I want you to reframe your language around your money. Reframe your language, ladies and gentlemen, because your language blocks your blessings. Reframe your thinking. You see, people only think about saving and spending money. No, saving, spending, investing. There's entrepreneurship. There is philanthropy. Yeah, there's so many ways, but the investing, because your little check was not designed to pay all of your bills. Yes, it was never the side or divinely divided for you to be your total resource. No, learn to invest in yourself. Going back to school, some of you need that degree, need that diploma in your frame. You've been talking about going back to school, talking about doing all these great things. I need you to reframe your thinking. I can't afford to go back. All this foolishness I hear. Well, they just lucky. You see, people have given us the idea that life is built upon luck. No, life is not developed on luck or dependent upon luck. Life is about that idea. They say where luck meets, it's at the avenue where luck meets hard work to get there, or take advantage of opportunity, investing and learning something, hanging around wealthy people, figure out some things and learn to make a proper investment into yourself and open up opportunities to change your whole financial situation. You got to first change your mindset. You got to read books and stop watching TV all times. Because guess what? I'm on this journey now about the last 8 weeks of not having television. And it's kind of intentional. I've been on a 90-day run, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll tell you about that another time. 90-day run of pushing toward a goal, pushing toward a mark. Like my life depends on it. Go for it. Go for it. Reframe your mindset. All of that is so important for your quality of life to change. And I hope this has been a blessing for you today to understand that you too can go out here and make it work, to be intentional about what you do, how you reframe everything in your life, how you push forward and going toward that mark of a high calling, reframing it. Though it was on a box, but it blessed me. You can tell. As a matter of fact, that box, I'm gonna be writing more about that box, talking about that more box. And I just barely touched the surface today. We're gonna continue this next week, talking about how we frame success, how we frame it. The idea, ladies and gentlemen, of restructuring or rechanging or rethinking, reframing the mindset. How does that factor in your promotions on jobs? How does this factor in your relationships through your church, your faith, your place of worship, where a group of people, with narrow-minded people, get together and with negative mindset and want to run the church, and they get their little party together, narrow-minded thinking people, instead of reframing their perspectives. And maybe I don't know it all. Maybe I need to listen to other people. Maybe I need to change in some other areas, reframing it. Maybe I'm broke because I've been talking about how broke I am. And maybe I'm broke because I've been hanging around 5 other broke people. Because they said your net worth is based upon the 5 people that you hang around the most. You hang around 5 broke people. I know who number 6 is. I know this stings. I know. But I ain't call nobody's name. I need you to understand that reframing your thinking, reframing your mindset, challenging your thinking, saying that sometimes reframing your mindset could be as simple as, listen, I don't want to get a job right now. I struggle with getting a job, but maybe I need to get a part-time job. Maybe I do need to get a job temporarily. Maybe I do need to do something to restructure, to kickstart my business. Or maybe I need to focus on my part-time business that was given to me, or an idea, and the struggle. reframing. I heard the story of a gentleman in Durham, North Carolina that was, got laid off from a job. Long story short, he kept pushing for his dream, and he knew his dream would not go away. And that dream was, number one, ladies and gentlemen, to bake cakes. Yes, he started baking cakes out of his home and had some restaurants, and he was selling cakes and holidays. And as the years went by, guess what? He always wanted to have his own brick and mortar building. Well, he's got it now. Yes, he's got it. A man baking cakes. Come on, he's stepping out. He had to reframe his mindset. He had to go through a new idea of reframing his success. Make it official. Because sometimes when you make it official means I stepped out there. It means I went and did the thing unapologetically. Some of you got to reframe or rephrase your thinking, so to speak. Guys, listen, I just hope today has been an inspiration to you, a challenge to you, a wake-up call to you, because I know it was for me. And I believe this was no accident, something written on the side of a box. Opened up something inside that it just kept pouring out of me. And I said, oh, let me go ahead. I got to do the show on this. I want you to think about, how does it frame? How do you frame your success? And are you framing your failures by how it looks? You got it raggedy. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, people want the new car. You want all this kind of stuff. Some people are framing their cars the wrong way by getting a car you cannot afford. Ooh, because you frame success about how it looks to other people, and you're working 5 jobs. You can't afford it. Come on, get things right. The opportunities will come when it's time for you to get there. You're going to have what you're supposed to have, and nothing's going to stop you from getting that. So today, I decided to go down this path about the different types of frames, the different types of frames to frame your purpose. The eyeglasses, the picture frames, ladies and gentlemen, the construction frame. We talk about bicycle frames, window frames, bed frames, door frames, frame of reference. And we want you to come back next week, ladies and gentlemen. Come back next week. We're going to share some information that's going to take you to another level, guys. Thank you so much for being with us today, ladies and gentlemen. Come back next week for the It's About You radio show here on WDRB Media, the voice of the community, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to be in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we are. Did you know there's a battle going on inside your gut? That's correct. Good and bad bacteria are battling daily for your health. Introducing P84, Love Biome's brand new awesome product to help your gut microbiome to get in order. Imagine 84 fruits and vegetables grown all around the world in good soil for good health. A 5-year-old, 80-year-old, it doesn't matter. We all have a gut, and you need P84 in your gut to help you feel better, sleep better, and also detoxify every organ in your body. Simply go to MauriceMcDonald.net, MauriceMcDonald.net, and you can order your P84 today to help get your gut in order. Remember, P84, go to MauriceMcDonald.net, MauriceMcDonald.net, and get your gut right today.